Our gamers just destroyed the UK government by Hirohei. It is interesting. So what they did was they released the game, right? Also, please consider liking and subscribing. I appreciate it. The UK government released a game called Pathways. I think that's what it called. That's what it's called, right? I think. And you cannot release a game that isn't more pro UK than whatever this is. It did the opposite of what it was supposed to do. Anyways, we'll go in. They did the exact opposite. Bro, you used everybody's dream woman. This game backfired so hard for them. They used, essentially, a dream woman to represent the radical right. It is crazy. It is crazy. It is crazy.
You may have heard about the UK government releasing this game called Pathways. They say, Navigating Gaming, the Internet and Extremism. A free, youth-centered interactive learning package for education on extremism, radicalization, and prevent. And the point of this video is not to tell you about this game, it's to show you how recently this game is completely backfired on the UK government. It ended up doing the opposite of what they wanted, but we'll talk about that a bit more in a second. Let me point this out first, because this little...
You need to realize they took a purple-haired alt girl to basically symbolize the nationalist side of the game, right? Like, oh, she's such a bad person. The problem is that these people are that they're portrayed nicely. She's a cutie, right? So people are now simping for her. It has gone completely out of control. The memes, the simping. Somebody has essentially created a "Don't toy with me" with Miss Nagato, I think Nagato. I forgot what she was called. And it's like "Don't radicalize me," whatever her name was. It is so funny. It is so funny.
Pop-up that you get when you visit their homepage is hilarious. It says, sign up to our monthly newsletter to keep up with the world of political and media literacy education. It's hilarious because, as you know, what they're describing as media literacy is really just, hey, do you fall for our propaganda? If you do, you're media literate. Good job. Good job. You you don't have independent thinking, so we're going to say that that's actually media literacy and try to make you feel good about it. It's a very obvious rhetorical manipulation tactic, and yet some people actually fall for it. And you can see this exact same tactic being used by pseudo-intellectual Reddit tier activists who throw the term critical thinking around. What they really mean is, hey, do you unquestionably subscribe to our activist rhetoric? If yes, we're going to label you a critical thinker. Good job.
Media literacy and critical thinking, also known as, I agree with all your points.
But if you question this stuff, if you actually think about it, we're gonna label you someone who doesn't have critical thinking. It's obviously ridiculous, and yet another rhetorical manipulation tactic. But anyways, going back to this Pathways game by the UK government, as mentioned, I want to tell you about how this has backfired on them so much. It literally ended up doing the opposite of what they were trying to do. So one of the pathways in this game is going the villain/bad route. And that involves befriending this character, Amelia, who's supposed to be like the antagonist of the game. And she has...
You just can't make this shit up. You just can't make this shit up. They used an alt girl with a choker and colored hair to represent the bad route and portray the people on the bad route not even as bad. It is so funny. It is so damn funny. This has gone so out of control. The people are simping. There's VTubers turning their VTuber models into this. It's crazy.
Horrible ideas like criticizing the government's policies on immigration. Oh, how dare you criticize the UK government and how objectively their immigration policies have been a net negative in many ways. But if you dare talk about that, if you dare so much as criticize the government, oh, you're going down this radicalization route, this villain, this bad route, how dare you do that? And so they make this character Amelia to try to help persuade people not to go down that route by framing her as like an extremist or something. But it turns out that most people actually found Amelia to be the most reasonable person in the game, which has resulted in people not...
Literally making memes about this. Look at this. It is so funny. These people are so out of touch. that they don't get it, right? They don't get it. These people are so out of touch. These people are that out of touch. It is crazy. I don't know what they've been cooking, but just stop them. Just stop them. They are so out of touch. First of all, why did you pick a right-wing woman? That's the first thing, right? Especially when you don't want boys essentially to turn out right-wing, because that's what your goal is, right? You pick the right-wing woman. That's the first thing. That's the first thing. Whatever you were cooking, no, you burned the whole kitchen. That's the first thing. You should have picked the dude. That would have worked much more. UK government needs to research gamer habits. Labeling as the bad guy makes her all the more appealing to gamers. That's also true.
Going against Amelia, but actually siding with her, finding her to be based and making a bunch of fan art of her, memes of her, etc., etc. And look how absurd this is. This is an example of what the UK government was trying to frame as like evil, bad, villain stuff. So the text reads, Amelia, Charlie's close friend, has made a video encouraging young people in Bridlington to join a political group that seeks to defend English rights. So you're an English person concerned about English rights. That's apparently extremist and bad. How ridiculous is that? Hey, if you're concerned about your rights, you're a right-wing extremist? That is insane. Check this one out. This one says, somebody else in the class tells Charlie that this is proof that immigrants are coming to the UK and taking our jobs. So the UK government is going to sit there telling people not to be concerned about their immigration policies, and that if you're concerned about these policies, you're a right-wing extremist, you're a bad person. What makes this even crazier is that
the funny part is that people want to say, like, this isn't happening. Immigrants are not taking your jobs. It may be a corny meme, but it's technically not wrong. See, you already have unemployed people, yet you invite more people. That's like, maybe get the local population first into jobs before you start letting more people in for job opportunities. And that's besides the point that they're just doing this so they can not, the local population would ask for more. Not just like white British people, but like people who have lived here for immigrants who have lived here for years, right? They would also ask for more, which is why you take essentially poor immigrants so you can pay them less.
Mere days ago, around January 9th of this year, the United Arab Emirates began restricting funding for its citizens to study abroad at British universities over tensions with the UK for the UK government refusing to label the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization. In other words, the UAE, which is one of the most prominent...
Simply put, the Muslims are saying, your Muslims are more radical than we here, so we don't want them here. That's pretty much what the UAE said. The UAE said, yo, your Western Muslims are worse than ours, so we're not letting them come here. And we're not funding them.
Muslim countries in the world is saying that the UK government is radically pro-Islamic terror. But again, the UK government will turn around and tell people that if they're concerned about any of this, that they're the ones who are the problem. Now, for argument's sake, the UK government's trying to say like, oh, we don't want to label them a terrorist organization. Here's the thing. Even if the UK government wants to say that, it's still an example of immense hypocrisy because the Muslim Brotherhood openly talks about how they want a global Islamic state. That is their end goal. They want a global Islamic state.
There is a video out there of like some Muslim ladies, right? There is a video out there of Muslim ladies talking to each other. And let's just say they straight up said, at one point, we're gonna apply Sharia law. Either you pay the tax, the jizya, or you leave, or you die. And I'm like, those people walk among you. They can make videos and upload these. And you do not find that concerning? You do not find that concerning. Like, it's just what? It's just like, what? You can't, these people are walking there just freely. They could post their videos. Let's be honest, if they made a male character, they would either make him a femboy, goth boy, or your son calls me daddy too guy, or they make him really hot, so the women actually flock to him. right? That's also a thing. That's also a thing, right? The women could flock to him too. Getting called up by the UAE, it's crazy. UK, fuck Islam programmer savages, Baal worshippers, crazy work.
And the UK government is apparently more fine with that concept than they are the concept of an English citizen being concerned about English rights in England. With that little segue aside though, let's return to talking about this Pathways game and how much this has backfired on the UK government, and how reasonable people that found out about this game all decided to side with Amelia. In other words, no one fell for the government's propaganda. Here we can see some
Fun fact, you know what they did to Keir Starmer on Twitter after the AI grok undressing feature basically dropped? You know what they did? They put him in a bikini or lingerie or just other sexy outfits. That is what grok I think should be that should be used, what AI should be used for, to undress bad politicians. Basically the same thing as your son calls me daddy too, but with daughter instead, pretty much. It's like this government is so out of touch, it does not even know what the people that stand against them even want. They don't even know what they're fighting against.
fan art of Keir Starmer wishing for Amelia to die because she has the audacity to say England for the English and wave St. George's flag. Something that we've already seen the UK government for over a year now complain about. Oh, how dare you fly St. George's flag? That is a symbol of hate. You know, they try to say nonsense like that. This account on Twitter, Christmas Brick, would post this edit of the manga Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro.
Yeah, don't radicalize me, Miss Amelia. It's Nagatoro, okay. That is so funny. That is so funny. They just lollified her, just like, yeah, let's go, bro. That's crazy. That is art. That is modern art. Perfect.
Saying don't radicalize me, Miss Amelia. It's a pretty funny edit there. We got people making edits with grok showing Amelia like dancing there with, once again, St. George's cross. This account posting Amelia waving the Union Jack and saying UK doesn't know what they did. Doesn't know what they've done, do they? This account posting a meme of the main character meeting Amelia, siding with Amelia, marrying Amelia, and having a family with Amelia. I'll show
The UK is so done, bro. They're that retarded. They are so outside of the people's wishes. They don't even know what type of person would they not want to be radicalized by. It's just there's no hope for the UK. There's no hope. The Union Jack has fallen.
So this one again, this fan art done by Juju, saying got very inspired to draw Amelia, not AI, and showing Amelia there holding up the no entry sign from the game, and again the Union Jack. With over 10,000 likes, we've also got our base
Leaflet out here doing the same. Gradunculus high screaming eye. Leaflet doing the same, the classic. See? Girls. Right-wing girls, okay? Okay, conservative girls. Here's your excuse. Here's your excuse to color your hair purple now. There it is. There it is. You can run around with purple hair. Purple hair, shoulder long. There is it. You have official permission to officially be able to color your hair again.
VTuber Leaflet saying Amelia, the Last Rose of Albion. Would you watch it? And posting this 1-minute trailer.
Ne, Charlie. Igiris no koto. Suki?
I watched that. Oh, you're a can of Charlie special soda. That does not sound like soda. That sounds like, yeah. You can call it AI slop as much as you desire. I don't care. This is peak. This is absolutely peak. Guess what? I'll try and stream with my model. Okay, yeah, do that. Why not? Not bad. Do that.
行こう。世界を変えに。
残念ね、チャーリー君。そんな有害な考えを持っているなんて、更生施設に入ってもらうわね。許されることではないの。
あのアメリアって子は全く 悪影響なんだよ。
文化を守りたいっていう気持ちのどこが悪いの？みんな自分の生まれた国や文化が大事なはずでしょう。
Bro, the UK is so cooked. I have never seen this country. In all of my 24 years on this planet, soon 25 years, I have never seen a government get so royally fucked. That is something we love to see. We just love to see it, guys. A rom called Moemon, I know what you are.
悪いことだなんて私には思えない。
今度は一緒に行くよ。
So yeah, it's really great, the stuff that people are coming up with. And it's hilarious to see, once again, how much this has backfired on the UK government. Now, I do have an update for you guys. Earlier in the video, I mentioned that it was being reported that this game was taken down. And it looks like that period where the game was removed was only for about 24 hours or so. And it's apparently now back up. I'm not sure if they ended up censoring anything or removing anything. You know,
They're absolutely 100%. There will be mods out there. People will mod the shit out of this. I will see it. Okay, it's fucking cooked. I bet you didn't see how the police beat up the Iranian protest in UK like 1-2 days ago. Yeah, we also have that here where like people are like saying, oh, you know, who are like taking, you know, leftists who are taking essentially the regime's side. Like we have that here too. Don't worry about that.
Maybe part of the Amelia quest line, so to speak. You know, Amelia pathway or whatever they want to call it. And maybe some of the endings that you can get, you know. I'm not too sure what the conclusion with that is. But again, you know, hilarious stuff how the government in the UK is just like seething about how people ended up siding with Amelia. What's not funny, though, is the real-world implications. For example, a state-funded computer game, that being Pathways, obviously, that we've been talking about, is warning teenagers that they risk being referred to a counter-terrorism program if they question mass migration. Pathways is an interactive game designed for 11 to 18-year-old pupils and funded by Prevent, a home office program for tackling extremism. Young players are directed to help their in-game characters, a white teenage boy and girl, to avoid being reported for extreme right-wing ideology.
Bro, essentially what they're saying is that they are labeling children, basically, right? Children, essentially terrorists. Oh yeah, but the grooming gangs graping little girls in the UK is obviously not a problem, right? What? What are we doing? Someone asked whether we make fun of England. I just link them this stream and give them the timestamp. It is what? You are labeling children, literal children, right? An 11-year-old, 12-year-old is a child in my eyes. Terrorists, it's so over. It is so over.
After discussing migration online, characters can face extremism referrals if they choose to engage with groups that spread quote-unquote harmful ideological messages, or join protests against the erosion of British values, quote-unquote. Even researching online immigration statistics is portrayed negatively. Because how dare citizens try to keep themselves informed and question the government's propaganda? Anyways, that's Pathways and how it completely failed to achieve what the UK government wanted it to achieve. But let me know what you think about all this stuff in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a lovely...
Horrible. You can get reported for extreme right-wing ideology? Apparently. But the problem is not that you can't get reported for it, right? The problem is that extreme right-wing ideology is what they make it. And being against mass immigration is apparently, supposedly, extreme right-wing, which is like, it's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. These people are just unbelievable. And they shot themselves in the foot, and I'm very happy about this. This is peak. This is peak. I'm rooting for, I'm rooting for Amelia. Definitely here. Definitely. The UK has been... It's just peak. It's just peak. Well, the Union Jack is definitely falling. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe.